Hi everyone. Without further ado, we can start the masterclass together. So my name is Valentin Ducros. I work for Fisheye Immersive. Like Marie said, we're cultural engineers, which means we produce exhibitions and festivals in Paris and the south of France. And we were invited by KIKK to highlight the work of KIKK23. KIKK23 is essentially an association of producers, creators, institutions, and artists who are from Quebec, Canada, and who work in immersive, experiential, and digital culture. And they call it the Quebec effect. Now, what's the Quebec effect? Well, so it's pretty intense stuff, right? And today KIKK23 is about 150 or 160 members, and today we don't have enough space on stage, so we invited only 4 of them. But I'm sure that this 4 will pretty much represent the ethos and what's behind KIKK23. So on stage with me, we have, starting on your right, Vincent Brault from SAT, the Society of Technological Arts, Hugo Laliberté from OTTOMATA, Ami Robitaille from Transversal, and Alain Mongeau from MUTEK. We only have about 40 minutes, so we'll try and touch on just about 3 points, right? The first one will be the importance of collective experiences when dealing with immersive art. The second, how to place humans back at the center of these experiences. And the third, if we have time, we'll be talking about how fast the tools that we're using in our work are evolving, right? The first person that I'd like to present today is Ami. The visuals that are going to be behind are obviously of her work at Transversal. So Ami is a co-founder of Transversal Studio, and she's had an established artistic career in Montreal for the past 15 years. Before founding Transversal, she collaborated with agencies like Cosette, Moment Factory, and K72. If I'm not mistaken, Moment Factory will have a workshop on Saturday, which we should definitely go to. Several of her works are now part of the prestigious collection of the Bibliothèque et Archives Nationales du Québec, which testifies to her contribution to the cultural heritage of the region. And more recently, her work with Beats Collective won an Applied Arts Award in Toronto, in addition to receiving support from the Arts Council of Montreal, Quebec, and Canada. Hi, Ami. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing great. Fine, thanks. I would like to, before introducing everyone else, I would like to ask one question and jump right in with Ami. Ami, a lot of your work is in situ, it's location-based. So you do a lot of set design and scenography. And I just wanted to know, what is it like for you to do immersive set design, sometimes in spaces that are not equipped for it or that are doing it for the first time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So We've had the chance to work in spaces that are actually designed to do immersive works, like the Society for Arts and Technology, which Vincent represents today. And this is really candy, but realistically, not every space is meant for that. So we really work with many devices, so not only projections, but also light and scenography, as you mentioned. So we're really interested in transversal, how we can bring some tangible aspects to also the digital. So it's really the mix of everything. So we develop systems that interconnect these devices, whether they are connected objects, like we have the light button. Maybe you have seen us at the demo space, but also, scenic lighting, and also many kinetic devices. We built like fountains that can interact with many, many things. So it is all about how we can create this experience in a venue. Like, for example, we've been transforming a dance studio in an immersive space. So yeah, not only projections, but also all of these things that can be working together to create a full experience.
Thank you. Right next to Amy on her left is Hugo La Liberté. Hugo, you're a creative programmer in the field of interactive and experiential design. You're the co-director of OTTOMATA, the experiential studio. You've been developing your work around the idea of the spectator being an active part of a given experience developed by OTTOMATA. You have a background in electrical engineering, advanced programming, and music. You started experimenting with interactive media in 2013, and that's when you co-founded your first artist collective. It's been shown at a number of festivals and institutions in Canada and Montreal, notably Chromatic Festival, the SATS again, the Live Art Gallery, and the Jutra Awards Gala. And your work has been featured across Canada, Dubai, Paris, Aix-en-Provence, UK, Tokyo. And I think you are also in the Creative Village, so if you want to check out one of the tools developed by Hugo and OTTOMATA, it's available until the end of the festival. And Hugo, I want to ask one question to you as well. Your company, your structure is very interesting because you are a director and creator, and you also have developed your own tool for live motion tracking. So I want you to tell us about this double casquette that you kind of have.
Yes, well, first and foremost, we're a creative studio, and we've existed for the past 6 years. And when I co-founded OTTOMATA, I didn't want us to just be like, let's say, a technology company or software company. And we really focused our work around creating works that give power back to the people. And the picture we can see right now is actually what we mean by that. Basically, we focus a lot of our attention into creating what we call the zero instant. So the zero instant is the idea that as soon as I step inside of an immersive work, an interactive installation, I should not start to doubt myself and start to try to figure out and have someone tell me, oh, wait a second, it's going to start in 5 seconds, just wait around this line. You know, I should feel that I'm able to explore and I can use my body. And once again, a picture right here that says a lot. We don't install any hardware on people. We don't give them instructions. You just walk, you see, and you understand. So our main tool, of course, there's a lot of technology involved, but it's based around the human body. And so since you're a kid, you learn to walk, you learn to run, you learn to touch stuff. We try to incorporate this in a lot of our work. And so being a dual company, as you mentioned, first and foremost, we're a creative studio, but then we also feel that we can enable other partners and other studios and maybe other venues like SAT to use some of our know-how, like our technology, which is called AutoTrack, which basically understands the physical world and the human that inhabit this world, and then help this the creators project this physicality inside of an immersive work. So, that's kind of where we base most of our work. Yeah.
Thank you, Hugo. Sitting to the left of Hugo again is Vincent Brault from SAT. We've mentioned SAT a couple of times already. I mean, a number of, I hope most of you or some of you know the space, and then a number, if not everybody on stage, has exhibited or shown or collaborated with the Société des Arts Technologiques in Canada, which is represented today by Vincent. Vincent, you graduated with a master's in arts, creation, and technology from the University of Montreal, and essentially you're dedicated to digital audiovisual creation and to exploring the symbiosis of sound and image through new technologies. Your passion for immersive art has led you to the SAT, where you use your expertise to support artists in residencies, you provide training, and you realize innovative, immersive, and interactive experience projects. So that's a lot of words. We'll be looking at some pictures too, so you guys can get a better sense of it. And Vincent, the first question that I want to ask you is that there's always sort of a hybrid programming that you do. You've been programming dance, visual arts, music, immersive stuff. So it's never like solo experiences. It's always kind of hybrid things.
Yes, so the Société des Arts Technologiques is a center that is dedicated to, like the name says, arts and technologies. And so we have different types of venues. So we present music shows, performances of different types. And we have a research center as well, so we do research in arts and technologies. And we're mostly known for our dome, which is a hemispherical screen theater. And we present immersive shows and experiences. And so we use the dome as a tool for 360 projections, like we're used to see in a lot of planetariums and other type of 360 theaters, such as other domes. But we like to use this space and this venue for more than having 360 projections or sound, and having live performances, live arts performances such as dance, circus, theater, AV performances. So we also interactive installations. So we like to use this space as an extended environment for artists to explore. And we're probably the first dome in the world to use this type of device for this type of experiences.
Nice. I have a lot of questions to ask you, especially about the Dome Festival. But before jumping to that, let's introduce the last guest on stage. I thought to myself before starting, it was like, oh, I'm not going to be corny, I'm not going to say anything stupid, but I'll do it anyway. The person that's sitting on stage with us is Alain Mongeau, who's pretty much the father of everybody in the room who has been working with immersive art and experiential stuff in general, and especially in the realm of arts. So Alain is the founder and director of MUTEK. He has a doctorate in communications, and he led ICEA 95. ICEA is the International Symposium on Electronic Arts. It's an international event that takes place once a year, every year in a different country. And he was at the head of ICEA from 1996 to 2000 as well. He also led the new media programming of the Festival International du Nouveau Cinéma de Montréal from 1997 to 2001. And then in 2000, he founded MUTEK. MUTEK is a Montreal-based organism that's dedicated to the exploration and promotion of digital creativity and electronic music. So the main platform of MUTEK is a festival of the same name that takes place once a year in Montreal, and it has become a reference point in the entire world for artists and professionals who work at the intersection of music and visual arts, essentially. MUTEK was a laureate of the 35th Grand Prix du Conseil des Arts de Montréal in November 2020, which, for those who have been to Canada or Quebec, know that it's a pretty rewarding and prestigious award, and well-deserved. And now MUTEK is organizing activities everywhere in the world, and there's also a yearly MUTEK in Mexico, Barcelona, and Tokyo. So that's for the short intro of Alain. And the first question is going to be, after 24 editions of MUTEK, the next one, the 25th, is coming this year, what still inspires you and what still inspires you as an artistic director?
Thank you. Yeah, so MUTEK is 25 years next year. It's a festival that, in a strange way, it's very similar to what it was at the beginning, and it has been evolving ever since, because it reflects, it's a festival, we say, more dedicated to digital culture in all its forms. So it reflects the mutations of the culture and also the relationship of artists using new technology. So the fact that, you know, we track the evolution of the practice makes it a festival that renews itself constantly. It's like a, how do you say that, unperishable source. So there's always new creativity coming from so many different sectors. We're quite lucky in that sense. Like, we don't really have to renew ourselves so much. We just have to follow the different trends and try to actually maybe be in front of trends, and that's what we've been doing all the time. We are also lucky to have a very strong creative scene, especially in Montreal. I think we've developed a relationship with that creative community. And the community, I mean, it's kind of a dialogue, to be honest. Just to give you an example, we do a call for proposals for the festival year after year. And this year we had 450 different submissions, which is a lot. It's about 50% more than before the pandemic. So just that, just to be there and to translate this creative potential into, you know, showcasing the work and entertaining a dialogue between Montreal and the world. It's kind of an easy task somehow.
Right. At some point you mentioned trends, staying ahead of trends, somehow predicting them, seeing what comes, what goes. Sometimes something will stick, sometimes it will go away. And I don't think it has escaped you if you've been to a few conferences here at the festival or just been online in the last few months. Artificial intelligence has been trending, has been on every lips for the past few months now. And I want to ask people on the panel who have been working with digital technologies, sometimes for decades, what's your take on AI?
Maybe you can
it's a big one.
Yeah. So with Transversal, we've developed an interactive installation. I have to mention it is also the work of my associate Ganesh Baron-Allois, which is not on the stage right now. So we developed this AI that's called CO, and it's a deep rest AI. So you can actually chat with CO, and depending on the conversation, you can interact with many different devices into space. So yeah, I was talking about the fountain, so you can actually make it cry, or we have some vibrating plates, so you can, when actually CO is mad, so it kind of vibrates and shakes. So of course, all the lighting and projections and visuals in the room are evolving with this conversation, but it was pretty interesting to work with AI in this sense, because the tools aren't made with AI to create art, except like for image generation, for instance, but really like with the chatbot, it's made for consumer service. So how do we create empathy? How do we make it artistic? How can it be consistent with the subject that we want to evoke in this project? So it was a pretty interesting journey to work on this project.
My turn. I mean, we heard the word trend being mentioned quite a few times. Alain thinking about how to be ahead of the trend, and like we keep hearing all these buzzwords: immersive, AI, crypto, whatever the flavor of the next year is going to be. And for us, for me, when we envision a new project, I see a picture right now and from a MUTEK project, and it's quite beautiful, it's quite interesting. If I'm excited by technology, because we did quite a few works with laser, and at the time I was super excited and curious about it, and I wanted to show people what I saw through the work that we were doing, and all of our most successful projects at OTTOMATA are done that way. It's we need to be excited and like kind of like kids when they want to tell a story or want to show their brother, their sister, something they found or a secret place. Well, all of our work is kind of this. We try to bring back people in our secret place that we crafted for them. And so at this point, let's say whatever the technology is, generative AI, whatever it is, I'm not getting that feeling at this point. That being said, we use a lot of AI since day one, and AI was in the first Kinect that was ever invented and used on the market. So in a way, it's a tool that we use basically on a daily manner. But is it just a fad at this point about generative AI? Who knows? But maybe I'll be wrong and something really interesting comes out of all of this. But at this point, it's mostly maybe a tool that's added to your arsenal. But yeah, I don't know. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, it is a toolbox. It's a means to an end. It's not the end itself. Like Amy was saying with her chatbot project, the moment that it becomes useful is in trying to develop a narrative tool in a different way. Whenever there's like a specific use case, right, sure, it might make sense. But as an end-all, be-all buzzword and trend, it might not be, what it hyped to be, depending on the context. Does somebody, Vincent, jump in on AI?
It's always been something recurrent in art history, where through all history, there's always been new technologies and new devices, and that's the that's the thing of creative people to try to do something different with those technologies. So to use a device that wasn't necessarily invented for artistic means at first, but artists have always used those new tools to create something new, to make arts. That's what artists do, right?
Yes, that's beautiful. That's what I used to.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly that. Like, if everybody's doing it, then why do the same? So and like we keep, of course, we're a technological studio, so we use a lot of technologies, and we keep hacking them and putting them to different use. We have like these LiDAR sensors that were built for intelligent taxi, that driverless cars, and basically we use that as a mean to track people inside of a room so that we can create something beautiful out of it. And we have this installation that's actually made out of spandex that we stretch and then we project on top of it. And so the spandex being quite extensible, we track where people are touching as well as the pressure they are applying on it. And we turned this into kind of another worldly matter that seems like it would, I don't know, come out of a sci-fi movie. And so once again, it's just about who cares about spandex. Like we wear it maybe on us right now, but then turned into a different narrative. It's interesting. So it's about surprising people and trying to bring them in or changing their point of view. So yeah.
Jump in maybe on the narrative part. I think it's very important because there's a danger with trends. I mean, it's important to be aware of what the trends are and to use them when it's meaningful, but sometimes when we're just trying to use trends and generate traffic on social media and everything, it creates like a ouroboros of things. Nothing new comes out of it. So when you try to use something that exists and do something new with it and integrate it into a narrative, into an idea, into a concept, that's where I think innovation comes from.
Right, and then at the end of the day, we just talked about immersive. A few years ago, we were calling it virtual reality, XR, extended reality, experiential stuff. At the end of the day, I'm not sure that I started doing something different. I just put a different name on it, but it has always been at the heart of it, like an artistic practice that's in between visual creation and just digital technologies, right? The rest is very often like a media-based buzzword. Maybe let's jump in on another subject, like we said at the beginning, and there's something that's kind of striking with the four institutions represented on stage, is that a lot of what you do is collective experiences. It's very rarely solo things. It's very rarely one by one. Nothing wrong with that, right? But I kind of want to challenge you on why this choice of creating collective experiences.
I mean, for me, it's simple. A festival is about a collective experience. Part of our leitmotiv always was like coming to the festival and live the MUTEK experience. So, I mean, we do see the festival as a concentration of content, all about, again, digital culture, digital creativity, and it's an immersion, 5 or 6 days now, immersion into that. So this notion of collective experience is just like underlying any festival, if I could say. One thing we've been doing is the first 10 years of the festival, everything was happening in dark places, like, dark inside, and after that we started to try to bring the experience outside to a larger public. Like, we were the first ones to do mapping on buildings before. Now it's actually embedded in downtown Montreal. I mean, again, that's another Montreal specificity, but part of the festival, as for many festivals, we have an outdoor stage, and we try to communicate what happens inside to expose it to a larger public. But it's not just going from inside to outside, and going to a collective experience. Recently, we've been doing the opposite somehow. We started what we call the immersive collection. So we invited artists that perform on stage doing audiovisual performances to introduce their work into VR pieces. So you could see like the opposite movement. The idea being that eventually people could take a little bit of the festival back home. So there's actually 3 titles at the moment in the immersive collection, and they're downloadable on different VR platforms, etc. So I think you have to see it in a larger scope.
Right.
And Montreal is a big festival city as well, so I guess it's maybe we spend a lot of the winter stuck inside and waiting for reasons to go out, but even in winters there's tons of festivals, so maybe it's in our nature, maybe we're all exhibitionists, I don't know, we like to see, like have people see our stuff, but even at OTTOMATA maybe it comes down to that, like why create something so nice and beautiful only not to share it, so the real fun starts to happen once, well, we can show it to the people we care about, but then even the whole public, and then the rest is history. So the whole goal of the thing is for it to be seen by as many people as possible, experience, and coming back to the story about the little children that wants to bring back people in his secret world. Well, it's all about this when we create work. So yeah.
I think I'm a little bit biased because since I've been in Montreal, I've been going to the set, I've been going to MUTEK, so I think the community is very charming. So this idea of being all together, living a common experience is very strong, and also on the other hand, we're working a lot with performing arts. And I think that performing arts, there's nothing like seeing it by yourself. I personally think, and it's very personal, that nothing beats a human being in front of you, like the connection that you have, but also the body, how it works. So yeah, there's something there that you need to share. It has other challenges, like exportation is a bit more complicated when you have a full immersive space with like sonography and things like that in a room. Maybe that's why you're going for VR experiences too, but still it's strong when we're together experiencing something, and it makes it special in a way.
Yeah, technologies can be very cold sometimes, in digital art can be cold in some way, and being able to share this experience with other human beings makes it more human and warmer in some way. And it's a totally different experience to to be able to live an immersive experience, let's say, with other people. And it helps feeling that you're if there are other people with you, that they share the same space, they share the same experience in some way. It helps amplify this feeling of immersion, of being in another environment, and that's what is special with the dome as a device. If we compare it to VR headset, for example, is that you can live an experience that is in 360, that you can create a virtual environment, but you're not alone in this environment. You can be with someone else. You can live it with collectivity, and that makes a totally different experiences. And also to bring people together. That's one of the goal of arts in general, I think. So that's we did a lot of innovating projects using technologies to bring people together, such as telepresence, for example. And so we did project to, for example, a long time ago, to that installation where you could communicate between one person in a city, in a public space, through another city, another public space. So bring people together, even if they're far away, and that's still something that is, I think, very a subject that is very interesting for now. We lived it through the pandemic, where we were all alone, all by ourselves, and how we could bring people in distance with the people in the collective space, and do this communication between individual experience and collective experiences.
To kind of bounce off of that, and that idea of the collective in larger groups, I mean, I think in this room everybody can relate to the fact that we all came in. Some of us are from Namur, or from the surrounding area, but a lot of us have also been flying in from far away, taking trains. We arrive, we're already kind of tired, and then suddenly you're in a room with dozens, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of people kind of thinking about the same thing at the same time, which is usually the theme of the festival, right? And I think there's like sort of a collective mass hypnosis or madness that happens at that time, with all of the, like every single people in that room kind of thinking and feeling the same thing at the same time. And that's a very unique thing to festivals and to the kind of fostering collective energy that we're all looking for in what we're doing. We have 5 minutes left, and I have a question, the answer to which I do not have at all. So it is definitely an open conversation. There is an elephant in the room in digital art and emerging technologies, especially on the scale that we're producing ourselves, right? Which is the power that it needs, right? And the environmental impact that it has. We're using sometimes heavy metals in the hardware. We rely on servers that are very far away and nobody can see, right? And I just want to kind of ask, how do you balance out your will and need to create with that kind of celestalgic or eco-conscious mindsets?
That's a very important question. It's a big challenge, actually. So, like for example, we're working on a hardware device, the baton, and right now it's working with lithium batteries because longevity and power and everything, and accessibility also. But we want to develop other types of energy, like creating our own batteries. But it's always at the end a question of money, like who's going to fund such a research and how much time it's going to take, and is it actually going to work? So there is some risk there. But on the other hand, we're also working with recycled objects. Like I've mentioned the installation CO, you know, remember the depressed AI. We're picking up old TV screens in the streets and actually curating them to see, well, how broken are they? Are they reusable? Some have actually very beautiful patterns. So yeah, it's always a question of balance. Some things are almost inevitable. Some things need just time and money to develop, and others are easier to make, like recycling things and having conscious choices of materials and everything. Alain, you should speak. MUTEK is pretty good in ecology at the festival.
Yeah, actually, we won a prize yesterday about that, apparently. Yeah, I mean, it is, like you say, the elephant in the room. It's something we actually our whole team embraces to collect, to work towards, you know, reducing waste and stuff like that. We also joined discussions, you know, we joined the Earth% initiative this year, where 1% of all the income generated from the festival was given to this foundation created by Brian Eno that really thinks positively and tries to develop actions to. But I think it's an awareness that has to be built, and it's not the only one. I mean, we've been embracing issues like parity in the festival, like diversity. So there's all these layers that, you know, I think the first 10 years we were with the festival, we were just doing what we liked, and we weren't aware of all the deeper societal implications. And now it's like the festival is nearly the opposite. It's so influenced by all these issues.
Yeah, another issue could be the, for example, the proprietary softwares, and so at SAT, all the software development are made open source. So we only use open source softwares when for our research department, for example.
I know we're running out of time, but a point on this as well. Maybe it's a food for thought, but we're talking about AI and stuff, and the whole week I know this question would come, and I spent a lot of time discussing with other colleagues and such. And one thing that's going on right now, let's just think about ChatGPT, for instance. You ask a question, how can I solve this issue in a certain code, and then it gives you the answer, and so you don't even have to scramble the web anymore to figure out some solutions. But then we hear that Stack Overflow, which is a forum where you use to ask technological questions about your coding problem, has to lay out 30% of their workforce because nobody goes on the forum anymore. And so we keep being super excited. Wow, nice, I can ask any question I want, it's gonna give me an answer. But the web, at the same time on which it was built and trained, all of this data maybe is not gonna be there tomorrow if we keep just using all of it to train tools that then nobody, and then you charge a $15 a month fee to go over there. So internet, which used to be a place to exchange information, it's getting behind closed doors much at a much faster rate. So anyway, some food for thought. We're not the best at creating open source. All of our stuff is closed, but it's maybe a bell to think about. Yeah.
Well, that's our time, everybody. Thank you for listening. Please go check out the Quebec Pavilion in the Creative Village, and our esteemed guests here will be hanging around if you have any questions. Thank you.